Today, we're basically becoming cosmic detectives. We're going to travel back about 2,500 years to ancient Greece and follow the clues left by a philosopher named Anaxagoras. Now, he was tackling one of the biggest puzzles of his day, a real head-scratcher that made people question the very nature of reality. All right, let's jump right in.
So here's the mystery. You've got this tiny little seed, right? And somehow it turns into a massive tree. Or you eat a piece of bread and it literally becomes a part of you. We see this kind of change all the time. But the number one rule in philosophy back then was ironclad. You can't get something from nothing. So, if the tree wasn't already in the seed, where in the world did it come from? This simple question was a massive paradox, and it had everyone stumped.
You know, on one side of this whole debate, you had the philosophical heavyweight, Parmenides, and his logic was pretty solid. He argued that if something is, it can't come from non-being. It's impossible. So his conclusion? Change must be a complete illusion. Our senses are just fooling us. But then Anaxagoras steps in and says, whoa, hold on a second. I can see the seed becoming a tree. Change is obviously real. So he took on the challenge, how to explain change without breaking that golden rule of nothing from nothing.
Anaxagoras' investigation led him to his first huge breakthrough. It was a totally new, kind of radical way of looking at what matter actually is. This was his first major clue, the idea that everything comes from everything.
Here was his brilliant, if a little strange, solution. The seed doesn't become a tree. No, the tree was already in the seed, just in tiny microscopic bits that you could never see. For Anaxagoras, every single thing in the universe, no matter how different it looks, contains a tiny piece of every other thing. Nothing is 100% pure.
Let's take that bread example. It sounds kind of wild, right? How does eating bread help build your bones, your skin, your hair? Well, Anaxagoras would say it's because there are already tiny, invisible portions of bone, flesh, and even hair inside the bread itself. Your body isn't creating anything new, it's just a master assembler grabbing the bits it needs. It's a strange thought for sure, but it perfectly solves that pesky creation from nothing problem.
Okay, but solving one problem creates another, bigger one. If, in the very beginning, everything was just one giant, messy, uniform soup, a cosmic smoothie with a bit of everything blended together, what started it all? What was the spark that kicked off the whole process and began to separate things out into stars and planets and people?
And this brings us to Anaxagoras' most revolutionary, most famous concept. He said the force that set everything in motion wasn't physical at all. It was something completely different. A cosmic mind that he called nous.
So, what is nous? It's pure mind, pure intellect. And here's the crucial part. Unlike everything else in the universe, nous is not mixed with matter. It stands apart from the cosmic soup. It's infinite, it's powerful, and it's pure. Now, it didn't create matter. Matter always existed, but nous is the force that brings order to the chaos. It's the ultimate organizer. So how did nous do it? Anaxagoras laid it out in 3 steps. First, you have that motionless, primordial gunk where everything is mixed together. Then, step 2, nous gives it a push. It starts a rapid, spinning rotation, a giant cosmic vortex. And then, step 3, this spinning acts like a giant celestial centrifuge. It starts separating everything out. The heavy, dark, wet stuff gets pulled to the center, while the light, hot, and dry stuff is flung to the outside. And just like that, from a single intelligent impulse, you get an ordered cosmos.
Now think about the implications here. If the universe was set in motion by a rational mind, then the universe itself should operate on rational principles. It should be understandable. And following this logic led Anaxagoras to some conclusions that were, for his time, absolutely astonishing and incredibly dangerous.
Just try to imagine hearing this in ancient Athens. The city worshipped Helios, the sun god. It was a core part of their religion, and Anaxagoras comes along and flat out declares that the sun is not some divine being in a golden chariot.
Instead, he said, it's just a giant fiery rock, a huge red-hot stone that's even bigger than the entire Peloponnesian peninsula of Greece. He was explaining the heavens with physics, not with gods, a total game changer.
And he didn't stop with the sun. Oh no. He then turned his rational eye to the moon, which the Greeks saw as the goddess Selene. And he figured it out. He correctly explained that the moon is an earthy object and that it doesn't have its own light. It's just reflecting light from the sun. Now, for these ideas, for daring to suggest the heavens were made of rocks and reason instead of gods, Anaxagoras was charged with impiety, a serious crime. He was ultimately forced to flee Athens. His rational universe was just too much, too soon.
So after all that, what's the final verdict on our cosmic detective? What's his real, lasting legacy? Well, it all comes back to that powerful, world-changing idea of nous, the mind.
This is his monumental contribution, the one thing you have to remember. Before Anaxagoras, people thought the causes of things were always physical things, like fire or water. He was the very first thinker in the entire Western tradition to say, no, the ultimate cause of our physical world is something non-physical, something transcendent, an intelligent, ordering mind.
And man, did that idea have legs. You can just trace the shockwaves it sent through philosophy. Socrates got hooked on the idea of a mind that arranges everything for the best. Plato's entire philosophy, with his non-material world of perfect forms, is deeply indebted to Anaxagoras. And then you get Aristotle's unmoved mover, the ultimate cause of everything, which is basically a direct philosophical descendant of nous. Anaxagoras set the stage for all of them.
What Anaxagoras did was draw a hard line in the cosmic sand. On one side you have mind, the thing that orders. On the other you have matter, the stuff that is ordered. That split, that dualism, became a cornerstone of Western thought for centuries of philosophy and science. And it leaves us wrestling with the exact same deep question today. Is the mind, our consciousness, our thoughts, really something separate from the physical stuff of the universe? Or are they, somehow, the exact same thing?